In 1992, Jean-Pierre Papin became the first player to transfer for a fee in excess of $10 million, or about 11.3 million at today's rates. Just 3 decades later, the football world has seen 10 times as many as even more. But the price of clubs for stars is constantly increasing day by day. Holding more than 100 million euros in recent years, the teams that have bought Jack Grealish, Darwin Núñez, Mykhailo Mudryk, Antony, or a little more expensive João Felix, Romelu Lukaku, or Ousmane Dembélé. But there is a fascinating theory that whether there is the same amount of money and go back to the past time, whether we can buy any players. Let's make a prediction in this video. First of all, it is important to know that the euro has had an average inflation rate of 1.89% per year from 2013 to the present, creating the possibility of a cumulative price of 20.54%. This means that prices are now about 1.21 times higher than the average price since 2013. According to the Consumer Price Index of the European Central Bank, PCP, probably starting with the purchase of Paul Pogba by Manchester United from Juventus for 105 million euros, the price of players began to increase dramatically after Pogba arrived at the Red Devils in 2016. Just 1 year after 2017, the 2 most expensive transfers until now are Neymar and Mbappe to Paris Saint-Germain for 222 and 180 million euros respectively. So if you go back in time and look back, let's start from 2008 until about 2015. The hypothesis is that if you hold more than 100 million euros during that time, what are the stars that you can buy? After 44 years without winning any major trophies, Spain regained their Euro 2008 title with the charming Tiki Taka La Roja that mesmerized so many football-loving hearts at that time. So surely the names that made that country's representative successful were the hottest signings at that time were Torres, Xavi, Casillas, David Villa, Cesc Fabregas. Besides the young stars like Ronaldo, Messi, or names like Kaká, Ronaldinho, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Raúl González are still playing in good form, but need to know that the most expensive contract in 2008 is the case of striker Robinho, with the amount of £32.5 million. Manchester United also acquired Dimitar Berbatov in the final days of the 2008 summer transfer window for $75 million. Gary Cook, Man City CEO, once intended to buy Messi for $70 million or more than $80 million due to a misunderstanding. The former president of the FA Premier League once said that someone at Barca had asked him if that was true. If it is true, then there is a high chance that a deal has happened. So holding 100 million euros at that time can almost buy any name. But it will be more difficult for those who decide to stay with the owner club, such as Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, John Terry, or Francesco Totti. 2009 can be considered a landmark year, with the purchase value of Real Madrid players that year broke the world record when spending about 94 million euros to buy Cristiano Ronaldo from Manchester United. They also signed Kaká for $68 million, with Real Madrid owning players who had won the Champions League and had won the Ballon d'Or 2 years earlier, with Ronaldo in 2008, Kaká in 2007, both of whom were the brightest stars in the world at the time. Besides, Barcelona also spent about 65 million euros to sign Ibrahimovic, the Swedish striker, who at that time was the best striker in Syria and probably Europe. He has also just won a domestic double with Inter Milan, but no contract has surpassed the $100 million price of even superstar Ronaldo. Therefore, it is also possible to buy most of the outstanding names of world football with such a large amount of money, but it will be difficult to reach players loyal to their clubs. Messi was first valued at $100 million in 2010, according to Transfermarkt. According to the theory that if there is enough money, your team can sign Messi, but then Barcelona under Pep Guardiola, Messi is a player that cannot be sold because he is also considered an important factor who will lead Blaugrana for many years to come. In Ronaldo's case, too, the Portuguese striker has just moved to Real Madrid and is also the team's brightest star. so having 100 million at that time will also be difficult to get Messi or Ronaldo's signature. The rest, compared to the football world at that time, $100 million was still a huge number. Spain's David Villa, who moved to Barcelona for $40 million. Yaya Toure, David Silva, or Balotelli to Man City for just under $30 million. Even as Inter Milan's mainstay Wesley Sneijder won the historic treble of the 2009-2010 season and shone brightly at the 2010 World Cup, Man United only offered to buy for $35 million. 2011 can also be considered a landmark year of world football. Paris Saint-Germain was bought by rich Qatar owners. Manchester City also began to receive more money from Middle Eastern owners. Paris Saint-Germain bought young player Javier Pastore at an unbelievable price of nearly 40 million euros, and Sergio Aguero recently came to Manchester for a half-green price of 45 million euros. But it was also just the beginning. Not too much money was spent. In general, the transfer market in 2011 was still quite stable. Another notable deal was that year's Radamel Falcao move to Atletico Madrid for around $42 million from Porto. But only about 8 years later is also a deal with Portuguese team Atletico Madrid bought João Felix for about 126 million euros from Benfica. From there, we can see how quickly the value of the players has increased. By 2012, although no deal had reached 100 million euros, there were also signs of that. According to Sports, Paris Saint-Germain, who reportedly paid more than 100 million to persuade United to release Wayne Rooney as their #1 striker in 2012, they still wants to cut back on Thiago Silva and Lucas Moura for a fee of over 40 million euros. Manchester United acquired Premier League top scorer and Arsenal captain Robin van Persie for about £30 million. In England, Chelsea are the strongest team, most notably the Eden Hazard and Oscar deals with prices of 32 million and 25 million respectively. According to Transfermarkt, only Ronaldo and Messi had a transfer value of 100 million in 2012, while Iniesta had a very outstanding season, especially in Spain, but was only valued at $70 million. This is the first year witnessed the contract with a price of 100 million euros was activated that is Real Madrid used the amount of 101 million euros to convince Tottenham Hotspur to sell Gareth Bale. There was even information Man United negotiated to buy Bale at a higher price, but he chose the White Vulture instead of Old Trafford. This is also a year when the deals were blown higher. For example, Barcelona spent nearly 60 million euros to buy Neymar from Santos, Gonzalo Higuain to Real Madrid for 37 million euros, and Monaco bought James Rodriguez and Radamel Falcao for 45 and 60 million euros, respectively. And Paris Saint-Germain got Cavani for a fee of about 64 million euros. And in England, the clubs also spent hard money to bring back the stars. Man City spent about 40 million euros to bring Fernandinho from Shakhtar Donetsk. Arsenal spent 47 million euros for Ozil, the Premier League's record signing in the summer of 2013. There are more and more expensive deals as clubs understand football delivery is evolving in a different way. TV rights became more expensive. PT and Sky Sport had to spend $3 billion to acquire Premier League copyright from 2013 to 2016, an increase of 71% compared to the previous. Bosses in the Middle East, Russia, or China are also gradually pouring money into football to serve their own purposes. The 2014 World Cup saw a flaming World Cup season in Brazil and received a lot of attention from the media. Therefore, players who stood out after the World Cup that year were sought after by many clubs at very high prices. The first star to be mentioned must be the case of James Rodriguez to Real Madrid for the same price of 80 million euros, and Luis Suarez to Barcelona for 82 million euros. Man United buy Angel Di Maria for $75 million. David Luiz to Paris Saint-Germain for over $62 million. Besides, there were many other notable deals, but no name reached the amount of 100 million euros. And after that transfer season, it was understood that spending a lot of money to race in the transfer market sometimes was not the right thing. As there were some deals that did not live up to expectations, the 2014 transfer window was also noteworthy, with Messi's intention to leave Barcelona in the summer of that year. The Argentine player revealed this to his former mentor, Tinto Villanova, but he was persuaded to stay and was given a pay raise despite having renewed it a year earlier. However, with 100 million euros, it was difficult to buy Messi at that time because Bale had the same price, and a year ago, with 100 million euros in 2015, you would have been difficult to buy top stars like Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. However, with that much money, the other stars are quite possible. Harry Kane at that time was only valued at about 70 million euros. Raheem Sterling came to Manchester City for the same amount of money, a little higher. The half-green Manchester team recruited Kevin De Bruyne for 75 million euros and could even buy Paul Pogba because, according to the BBC, he was only valued at more than 80 million euros. Sergio Ramos is in top form, but is valued at just over $50 million. According to the German cover, Manchester United tried unsuccessfully to pay $94 million for Thomas Muller, then bought Anthony Martial for around $50 million. So it can be seen that holding 100 million euros between 2008 and 2015, we can ask for many of the top stars of the football world, except for really special cases. But today, with a price of 100 million euros, it is easy to recruit stars, even if they are new. The football world is changing daily, and let's see what crazy money will be spent again in the future.